I know it's a bit of a cliche statement, but 2018 has been both a phenomenal and newsworthy year for gaming. There have been highs like the release of much anticipated games in God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2, and also Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and potential first steps into crossplay between PlayStation and Xbox have been made thanks to Epic Games' Fortnite. However, there has also been some damaging moments, such as the controversy surrounding Telltale Games' closure and their treatment of staff, along with US President Donald Trump's behaviour towards the gaming industry earlier in the year. Despite all of the negatives, 2018 has probably been my personal favourite year for gaming, thanks to the abundance of brilliant titles that were released across a variety of platforms. The following video takes a look at my personal top 10 video games for all of 2018, so just in case spoilers lie ahead. This seems pretty obvious, but the games that feature on this list are games that I personally enjoyed, so chances are you'll disagree with some of my picks. So anyways, here's the video and I hope you enjoy. Number 10. Mario Tennis Aces. Kicking off the list is none other than Mario Tennis Aces, the first game in the Mario Tennis franchise since 2015 and also the first game on the Nintendo Switch that features in this list. When it comes to the sport of tennis, I haven't really enjoyed a tennis game in quite a long time, maybe since the days of Wii Sports, so I'll admit I was a bit adamant at first when it came to the latest Mario related gaming title. If I'm being honest, I was pleasantly surprised when I first got the game because of how fun it is to play in my spare time. I had originally imagined the game would be very boring to play, but that's pretty much the complete opposite. It's a great game to have when I'm out and about, and it's even better when playing with friends and family, thanks to the Nintendo Switch's Joy-Cons. However, the game only comes in the 10th position on my list because of the game's adventure mode. For me, I feel like Camelot Software Planning could have done much better with this mode. Personally, I found it quite tedious and boring to play at times, and on other occasions I had to motivate myself to go through parts of the adventure. That's not to say that the adventure mode is boring overall, because it isn't. I just felt that it could have been a lot better in comparison to what I've seen in other games, and there were times where it felt more as a chore rather than just a fun game to play. The various challenges in the adventure felt like a complete waste of time because I preferred playing ordinary tennis matches rather than face mirrors and piranha plants, for example. I hope you don't think I'm being too negative because it is a pretty fun game to play. I just felt that it was a bit underwhelming and also could have been a lot better. Number 9. Eevee. Following on from Mario Tennis Aces is none other than Zoink's adventure platforming game, Eevee. In Eevee, the player controls a creature that I guess best resembles a combination of a fox and a hedgehog. This world and environment that we see in Eevee is essentially controlled by the antagonists that are described in one of the trailers as the Silent Ones. These entities can be seen attacking the wildlife creatures in this world, and it's up to the player, the main Eevee I guess, to sing and befriend the other wildlife creatures to complete the various puzzles and quests, and finally defeat the Silent Ones. The visuals for this game is quite easily one of the best features. If you're the type of person that loves unique designs and landscapes, you could easily spend hours just playing this game and exploring this picturesque world. While I did enjoy the game, the biggest criticism I had after completing the game is that it lacks direction at times, and also the game is pretty easy to complete. I love the parkour challenges, especially when you had to slowly climb up some sort of huge tier creature, but a majority of these little puzzles are pretty simple to complete. It would have been a lot better if there were some more adventurous and difficult challenges. But regardless of that, Eevee was definitely a great little experience for a very cheap price. I definitely recommend it. Number 8. Unravel 2. Coldwood Interactive's puzzle platform Unravel 2 was another gaming surprise for me this year. If I'm being honest, I'd never even heard of the previous title, Unravel, when its sequel was announced and also released during EA's press conference at E3 last year. For Unravel 2, you can choose to play on your own or with a friend, where you control two Yarnies, also known as anthropomorphic yarn creatures, to complete a variety of different puzzles and challenges. The additional Yarny in this game allows for more inventive and unique puzzles to complete, and it's a rather memorable game to play with someone else. The discrete story consisting of two children in the form of ghosts that seem to be trying to escape together was a very nice touch to the game, as it mimics the actions of the player as they too are trying to escape the dangers that they are in, along with the additional Yarny. Similarly with Eevee, and also to an extent Mario Tennis Aces, Unravel 2 doesn't have much replayability to the main game either. One of the best features of the game, for me personally at least, was trying to solve the various puzzles and challenges, but after you complete a certain level or game, it's not as fun to play anymore because you now have the knowledge of how to complete it quickly. But also, like I said before with Eevee, Unravel 2 was a great little experience for a very cheap price, and again, I definitely recommend it if you're looking for a cheap and fun game to play. Number 7. WWE 2K19. I can't believe I'm even saying this, but a WWE game actually makes my list involving my best games of the year. I don't think I've fully enjoyed a wrestling game in over a decade, so 2K Sports' latest installment in the franchise was definitely a pleasant surprise for me. For years, the game has lacked any real source of entertainment, and it has constantly had an underwhelming career mode. However, this year has just been completely different, and thankfully too. The new career mode finally had an interesting and unique story, the game finally included some basic voice acting once again, which was definitely long overdue, and also the ability to customize your wrestler a lot more than in comparison to previous games, in terms of, for example, the abilities and attributes, was also another welcome addition. Away from career mode, 2K also brought back the much loved showcase mode, focusing on Daniel Bryan's career. Also, 2K made some other great changes and additions, like the defensive payback system that was introduced, and also the introduction of some hilarious new modes such as the block and big head match types. For the first time in quite a while, 2K has actually done an outstanding job of the WWE 2K franchise. The latest game is interesting, different, but most importantly fun. Number 6. Call of Duty Black Ops 4. If I'm being honest, it's hard to properly talk about Black Ops 4 as an entire game. While it comes with a lot of benefits, the game has also had a variety of problems, some of which still exist as of speaking. Treyarch's latest addition to the Call of Duty franchise is probably the best it's been on the current generation of consoles, and the best game since Call of Duty Black Ops 2. But I would say there's a big gap in terms of quality between the older COD games like Modern Warfare 2 and the aforementioned Black Ops 2, in comparison to Black Ops 4. I'm not a massive Battle Royale player, so I won't go into much detail on the Blackout mode, but it seems to be the best and most realistic Battle Royale mode available currently. In terms of multiplayer, I'd say I have mixed feelings. The introduction of healing and also the shared kill system are both great additions in my eyes, but a massive downside for me is how unbalanced the game is. SMGs overall have mostly been quite weak, and even after many updates, the LMGs are still far too strong. The multiplayer maps, apart from the remastered ones, are quite terrible too, and they all seem like retextured copies of one another, but with a slight few differences. Although I do have to give praise for Treyarch's work on zombies. While I have no idea what the Easter eggs were all about, because after Black Ops 3 that just confused my mind even more, Black Ops 4 has probably been the best for zombies thus far. The maps available to play are incredibly fun and also very different, and the remastered version of 5 was also a great addition for the pre-order bonus. If it wasn't for the abundance of bugs and crashes that this game had in its first 3 months, then Black Ops 4 probably would have been much higher on this list. But with all the problems also comes with consequences, and that's why it makes the number 6 position in my list. Number 5. The Walking Dead The Final Season. Right in the middle of the list, I have none other than Telltale Games' The Walking Dead The Final Season. If you've ever been on my website or YouTube before, which you totally should do after watching this video by checking out byjohnsmith.com. But yeah, it's no surprise that I absolutely love The Walking Dead. While the second and third season of the franchise had its fair share of flaws, the final season has thankfully lived up to my expectations thus far, and has been incredible to play. The game only makes the number 5 spot because the final 2 episodes are yet to be released. It only seemed fair to stick it in the middle of this list, seeing as it has started very well, but it hasn't been completed yet. If I do another video like this next year, then I'll definitely take the entire game into consideration, rather than focus on just the first 2 episodes. Despite Telltale Games' issues, I'm beyond relieved that the game will be finished thanks to the support of Skybound Games and Epic Games. The final season's narrative has been significantly better so far in comparison to seasons 2 and 3. Some choices seem like they finally play a part in offering a different story altogether, and the changing graphics and new gameplay features have been pleasant surprises also. While I'm beyond excited to see how the final 2 episodes play out, I'm not looking forward to the end of Clementine's story. After watching her story unfold across the last 7 years, she's easily one of my favourite video game protagonists of all time, and I just hope her story doesn't conclude with an obvious death. And I hope I don't get too emotional.
For stuff.
Like what?
Putting a bug on his pillow?
Did you do that?
Yes.
Number 4. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Like I said before in my most anticipated games for 2019 video, I've always wanted to play a Pokemon RPG game on a more advanced console, and Game Freak's innovative titles were the perfect way to introduce the franchise to the Nintendo Switch. While the latest titles didn't contain as much content in comparison to recent games in the franchise, and were also simplified in comparison, the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee titles were still very fun to play, and it made me feel nostalgic since I loved playing Pokemon Yellow when I was younger. Despite the fact that the game was a lot more simplified and also appealed to a younger audience, a majority of the changes and additions were actually great, and I hope Game Freak can somehow incorporate some of these into future titles in the franchise. Having Pokemon walk and run around the world made the game feel a lot more alive, and the return of having a partner Pokemon was a great addition too. I'm still not entirely sure where I stand on the Pokemon Go-esque catching system in the game, but I will admit it was nice to try something new. While it wasn't a blockbuster title, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee were great fun, and I'm even more excited now about what's in store for the franchise in 2019. Number 3. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The most recent game to be released makes it to the top 3 in my list. Just like with the Pokemon Let's Go games, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was another pleasant surprise, and I've been loving it since I got it. When it comes to Super Smash Bros., the one thing I love the most about the franchise is just how wacky and crazy the game really is. Being able to see the likes of Mario, Captain Falcon, Pikachu and many others from completely different franchises compete in battles is simply too much fun. Similarly with some of the other games on this list, I loved playing Super Smash Bros when I was younger, and now being able to play the game on a more enhanced and superior console is that much better. Just like with the aforementioned Mario Tennis Aces, Super Smash Bros is so much fun to play with family and friends, and while it's not perfect, the online mode is still pretty fun too. I really enjoyed playing the Adventure mode for the game. Unlike Mario Tennis Aces story, I had a lot of fun playing the Adventure mode for this game. It does seem a bit weird talking about it because I still haven't completed it yet, but I love the idea behind trying to defeat the spirits of characters before properly unlocking them. I can't wait to see what's in store for the remainder of the adventure of this game. The latest installment in the franchise might just be the best yet, and if you own a Nintendo Switch, you definitely need to buy this game. On second thought, you need to buy a Nintendo Switch just to play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I definitely recommend it. Number 2. Red Dead Redemption 2. Just missing out on the number 1 spot for me is Rockstar Games' sequel to the much loved Red Dead Redemption. I'll admit I was never a big fan of the predecessor for some reason, and I never properly got into the story either, so I was a bit reluctant at first to try Red Dead Redemption 2. However, after reading many reviews and seeing just how much people were enjoying the game, I knew I had to try it out. If I'm being honest, I guess you could say that I'm glad I played the game without the knowledge of the first, since I didn't know what the fate would be for any character in this game. Well, except for John Marston. I don't want to go into too many details, even though I have already mentioned before that this video will contain spoilers, but Arthur Morgan's story in Red Dead Redemption 2 is a masterpiece, and it was a joy to play. He started off with this portrayal of being just another thug, someone that will do whatever it takes just to get a bit of cash into his pocket, but as the game progresses we see the type of person that Arthur truly is, someone that in the face of death realises all of his mistakes and does whatever he can to right the wrongs that he made. Apart from the main story, there is so much more to do in this open world, from experiencing new landscapes, track and hunt new animals, and also cause mayhem with random civilians. The online mode for the game is also pretty fun, but if I'm being honest, it's nowhere near as good in comparison to Grand Theft Auto 5. While it is a fantastic game, there are some aspects of the game that I do dislike. As always with Rockstar's games, trying to shoot in third person is basically impossible. It's pretty annoying having to consistently hide behind cover, pop up for a few seconds and shoot at a target, before having to duck back down again to lock onto a new target again. Despite the fact that Rockstar continuously produces legendary games, I do find it a bit surprising that they still haven't improved on their shooting mechanics. Also, I don't think I've ever disliked travelling as much as I do in this game. Having to consistently tap the X button to try and make my horse move at the right speed is again beyond frustrating, and it feels like a massive chore. Apart from this though, I have no other real complaints about the game, and you definitely need to try it out if you haven't already. Okay, could I have a drumroll please? My personal best video game for 2018 is none other than Detroit Become Human. The latest interactive experiment from David Cage's Quantic Dream is a technical masterpiece in my eyes. If you were to conduct a simple search on Google, you'll quickly find out just how much effort and depth there is to this game. There are approximately 100 different and unique endings, between 2,000 and 3,000 pages in the script, 35,000 different camera shots, 74,000 unique animations, and also 5.1 million lines of code. With that much effort into one game, you just have to appreciate the amount of hard work, effort and dedication that was put into this game from Quantic Dream. As someone that loves those choose your adventure type games like with Life is Strange and also the aforementioned The Walking Dead, it doesn't get better than Detroit Become Human. The game offers 3 completely different stories, each unique and phenomenal in their own way, and they all combine into one significant and powerful story towards the very end. The first android we're introduced to, Connor, is one of the latest android models, and he's assigned tasks to investigate the rise in deviant androids. Marcus plays a crucial role as he becomes the leader of Jericho and also leads the androids' march for freedom, and while not as important as the other two in terms of the narrative, Kara displays her desire to be a mother after she essentially adopts a young girl in Alice, although as we later find out, Alice is also an android. Detroit Become Human puts emphasis into the fact that every choice you make will also be met with implications. Some of these can be positive, while others can be negative. Due to the amount of content that's in the game, and also considering how many different endings in the game there are, I can't even talk about the story in a lot of depth because the overall story that I played through is most likely very different to what everyone else has played through. Overall, the casting choices for the game were perfect, the soundtrack was amazing too, and the narrative felt both unique and special, which is exactly what you want from this type of game. Quantic Dream's Detroit Become Human is not only my personal game of 2018, but it is also one of my favourite video games of all time. But anyways, that's my list. Who makes your top 10 video games of 2018? why don't you comment down below or tweet me over at PyJohnSmith with your thoughts. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Why don't you subscribe and maybe check out another one of my videos if you'd like. But anyways, goodbye, thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a great day.